On previous episode,
Let's roll our dice and make our predictions. So, Abhishek, what do you think? What will be the results of these three series that we have?
I think 2-1 in favor of India.
What I think is for ODIs, it will be 2-1 in the favor of Indians.
3 matches later.
वीडियो करना है क्या?
यार प्रेडिक्ट तो 2-1 किया था यार, ये तो उल्टा पड़ गया.
हार गए यार.
It's 2-1. The series is over. I'm talking about the ODI series. What exciting series it was. Australia, India playing after such a long time. India playing in ODI like after 7 months and unfortunately losing the series 2-1. Credit goes to Australia. What a performance by the side. They completely outplayed us, the Indians, in the first two ODIs in Sydney. Batted us out of the game. What great performances with the bat, and what mediocre performances we had with the ball, us Indians. But yes, we did come back in Canberra, winning the last ODI and losing the series at the end 2-1. Hello, guys. Welcome to our series review for India versus Australia ODI series. And we will be talking about how did the series go.
And the manner in which Australians played completely outclassed the Indians in every department, be it fielding, bowling, or batting. And there were some belligerent performances, especially from the likes of Steve Smith and Glenn Maxwell. They really liked this Indian outfit. They completely outsmarted, outfoxed, and practically outbatted them out of the series.
Yes, Abhishek, you talked about Steve Smith. What a player. He loves India, and we have to agree to that. He performs very well against us and keeps his best reserved for the Indians. Two hundreds of 62 balls each in two innings at SCG. Well, that is phenomenal when you talk about two ODIs in 3 days. And Glenn Maxwell, completely out of form in the IPL and blasted us Indians in SCG. And even in Canberra, in the ODI, they could have won, but thankfully they lost. Indians could win at least one ODI in this series. But yes, you talked about great batting performances, and coupled with it was a pretty mediocre bowling that Indians put up in the first two ODIs. Well, Navdeep Saini, Yuzvendra Chahal conceded a lot of runs in those two ODIs. Well, Bumrah and Shami were also very much out of form, I would say. In the first two ODIs, Bumrah did come back and did pretty well in Canberra. But yes, our top main four bowlers were completely out of color in the first two ODIs, and Australians completely battered us out of those games.
Yes, and when we look back at a first ODI and second ODI, and first ODI, Aaron Finch obviously got 100. He was looking a bit rusty, not in the prime form in the IPL. He was in and out of the side. The way he led the Australian side in the park was simply outstanding. And Steve Smith, he is a genius. He is a modern day great. Notching up runs like eating bread and butter was simply phenomenal. And the way he went about his business, no fuss about it, absolutely nonchalantly. And his strike rate was phenomenal. And it never looked like he was muscling the ball out of the park. Simple, straightforward, classical shots. And his strike rate was way up there, along with Glenn Maxwell.
Correct. And one thing I would like to point out here is we did not bat very poorly in those first two ODIs. Well,
Absolutely.
if you see, we got 340s, 350s, but Australians went on to get 370s and 390s. Well, that makes a lot of difference, and it is very difficult with even a strong batting lineup to chase such scores, if you know. And well, I would like to put up some stats here. I won't talk about this series as a whole, but how did the Indian bowlers go this year, 2020? And I don't think our bowlers had a good year in ODIs this year, although we've played very less ODIs this year. Uh, Let me put up some stats. Well, I would like to start with Mohammad Shami. Well, if you see in 2019, his average was bowling average was 22.6. It shot up to 32.8 in 2020. Well, talking about Kuldeep Yadav now. Well, his average in 2019 was 34.7, shot up to 51.3 this year, which is a lot. Now talking about Yuzvendra Chahal, well, he was smashed in those first two ODIs. His bowling average in 2019 was 28.1, and this year it shot up to 37.9. Well, to conclude this stat chat, I would like to mention Jasprit Bumrah, one of the aces in the Indian tank. His average in 2019 was 24.6, and guess what? In 2020, his bowling average is 154.7. Well, those numbers tell a story. And this year, Indians lost 3 ODIs in New Zealand, 2 ODIs in Australia, and major reason for it, I guess, is the bowling lineup, and it did not perform to the potential. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. And this series, we didn't have the services of Rohit Sharma. He was missing, and he has been one of the best in business since last few years in limited overs cricket. So his batting at the top was definitely missed. So that was also a big factor. But obviously, as you said before, Atisham, when you are chasing 350 plus scores in both the ODIs, it's always a difficult task. And bowling, yes, that was a major concern, at least in the first two ODIs. But the way they came back, they made some changes going into the third ODI and did pretty well in the bowling department.
Yes, and well, you talked about Rohit Sharma. Obviously, he's a big player in ODI. He's one of the best that we have. But a player that I would like to mention that came up gains in this ODI series was Hardik Pandya. Well, what a player! He did not bowl or contribute with the ball in this series, but what great batting performances from him. Got a 90 in the first ODI and 92 not out today. Well, he has clearly established himself as a good batsman in ODIs. Well, consider when he comes back with his bowling ability and contributes to this team. It will be a great addition to the lineup, and it will be a great prospect for India going into the future.
Absolutely. So that was one department which we were discussing throughout this whole series. That Indians were just going into the match with just five bowlers, no six bowling options. They had to go to the likes of Mayank Agarwal. Even in desperate times, like the second ODI, we saw Hardik Pandya, despite not being 100% fit to bowl, had to bowl those 4 overs because all the regular bowlers were going for plenty. Yuzvendra Chahal, you talked about, picked up just a solitary wicket, conceding like more than 7 runs in over in both the ODIs. So that was one weak link I felt in the ODI series. The performance of spinners. We relied so heavily on spinners, especially in those middle overs. And if we compare it, I think it will be grossly unfair if we compare it with the counterpart, Adam Zampa. He ended up being the highest wicket taker in the series, picking up 7 wickets.
Correct, Abhishek. And yes, spin has been our go to department in the middle overs, as you rightly said, but our spinners have been completely out of form, especially in those first two ODIs with Yuzvendra Chahal playing, especially with Yuzvendra Chahal not performing really well in those first two ODIs. Well, Jadeja did what he does best with the ball, and considering his batting prowess, he is a permanent member of this ODI team. And I believe his performance in the third ODI is a testimony of how important the player is to this Indian team. So I think with Hardik Pandya coming back and bowling in the near future would sort a lot of problems for us as far as our ODI team is concerned. And with the Aussies, well, we talked about in our first video the preview of this series that stakes for Australia is very high in this ODI series, considering the ICC World Championship for ODIs to qualify for the 2023 World Cup. And they did perform really well, winning the series 2-1. Previously winning the series 2-1 in England as well. So they find themselves at the top of the table of ICC ODI Championship, and they stand themselves in good stead to qualify very soon.
So, Atisham, we talked about the weak points for India. We talked about what India were lacking in this limited overs series, ODI series. But the biggest positive has been Hardik Pandya. His prowess with the bat, averaging like more than 100 with one not out and scoring 290s. in two ODIs. So that has been the biggest positive for India. What do you think Indians will feel after this series? What has been the positive apart from Hardik Pandya?
I think you talk about positives. I think it will be a lot of headaches, considering the bowling lineup, what to choose and what to leave out from. Because Navdeep Saini was backed from a long time to get that number three spot for seamer, but I think he just went out of proportion with his performances. And with Bhuvneshwar Kumar coming back, I think it will be very difficult for him to find his place in the squad itself, because then we have Shardul Thakur, T. Natarajan, and these guys have performed really well in the opportunity that they were given in the third ODI. Talking about Shardul Thakur, he has been a consistent performer and a member of the Indian squad since a couple of years now. So, considering his performance in the third ODI, I think he'll retain his place when we play another ODI series versus England later next year in February. So I think Navdeep Saini has made a lot of difficulties for himself and will, I think, find it very difficult to make his place in the squad. And with Bhuvneshwar back, I think our 11 would be sorted because he's a match winner of sorts. And with Bhuvneshwar back, I think our lineup would be really strong because Bhuvneshwar has been a proven performer in ODIs. So that would be it from us for this ODI series. And our prediction did go wrong.
Horribly wrong.
Yes, we predicted 2-1, but it went in the favor of Aussies. But we had a lot of fun watching this series, some great performances, and I think we are awaiting the T20 series and the Test series to follow. So, talking about the T20 series, let's get into.
Yes, it's time for the T20s, and Indians will be squaring off against Australians on 4th of December at Canberra. And some exciting prospects, and maybe chance for redemption for some of the players who did not so well in the ODIs. But it presents them a great opportunity, the likes of Yuzvendra Chahal, maybe Navdeep Saini later in the series. What about the T20 series, Atisha?
Well, Abhishek, pretty much excited for it. First of all, I would like to talk about the Australian kit, the indigenous kit that they would be using for the T20s. I really liked it. And with the series just scheduled before the test series, the all important test series, I think it will be very critical of who plays and who sits out, because the second T20 is on 6th of December, but from the 6th of December, we are also starting a practice match against Australia A for the test team that we have. So I think the likes of Mayank Agrawal, the likes of Mohammad Shami will head straight towards that match, giving opportunities to people like T. Natarajan and Yuzvendra Chahal to find their feet yet again in the lineup. So I think it will be very good to see new faces. For example, T. Natarajan getting to play all the three T20s, hopefully, and performing. And looking forward to India winning this series as we predicted.
Absolutely. And the way T. Natarajan came back after Maxwell smashed him for 18 runs in the third ODI was really commendable. We all knew he had all the variations in the IPL. He performed extremely well under a lot of pressure against the best in the business.
Yes,
So
absolutely, absolutely. And you can compare IPL with these T20s because it's the same format. Comparing IPL with the ODIs is not justified at all. That's what I think. And talking about that, Yuzvendra Chahal, even if he performed really badly in ODIs, deserves his spot in T20s because he has been phenomenal in this format, performing really well in the IPL and deserves a chance as well in T20s, playing all the three T20s, because Kuldeep Yadav is a part of Test squad, and I think he should head back and play those A games with Australia to get himself in the groove. So I think that's one place for the spinner that is sorted. And I think we talked about the sixth bowling option in ODIs, and I believe Washington Sundar in our T20 squad provides that balance to the team, and I think he should play in the 11, making the spot for the sixth bowler. And Jadeja should bat at number 6 in our T20 squad with Pandya at 5, and Washington Sundar should be the player to bat at number 7, giving the spot for the 4 other bowlers that we'll talk about.
yes, and Washington Sundar, Virat Kohli can go up to him to bowl in those crucial power play overs. He
Correct.
provides that option and can upset any opposition batsman,
And
especially
can
at the
bat as
top.
well.
and he can provide that powerful finish towards the end.
Yes, Abhishek, and with Hardik Pandya moving in at number 5, we our viewers and listeners would be thinking, what about KL Rahul? Well, in T20s, he is a fantastic opener, and I think will keep the wickets as well as open with Shikhar Dhawan and form a formidable opening partnership there with Virat Kohli coming in at number 3 and Shreyas Iyer at 4, making place for Hardik Pandya and Jadeja at number 5 and 6, and then the bowlers, the 6 bowlers that we have been looking for all through the series.
Yes, and it also presents a great opportunity to Deepak Chahar. Let's be fair to him. He has done extremely well in the limited opportunities he has got, especially in T20s. And he
Absolutely.
also performed really well for CSK over the years.
Yes, he swings the ball up at the top, and in T20s, he has been a proven performer and wasn't added to the ODI squad, but he's there. And part of the T20 squad with the players like Mohammad Shami going out to play the A games. Might be Jasprit Bumrah would also land up playing those A games. Who knows? But I think he'll play the T20. But with Deepak Char in our lineup, rest assured the opening bowling combination is one way sorted with Deepak Chahar taking up those initial crucial power play overs with Washington Sundar to aid him. Well, that will be a good power play partnership as far as bowling for us is concerned.
One big news for Australians, David Warner, the explosive left-handed batsman, the opener, he won't be a part of T20s. And in his place, Darcy Short, who has done really well for the domestic side for Australia, he will get his opportunity and he can also provide that option with his part-time bowling. So Washington Sundar versus Darcy Short, the left-handed batsman, will be an encounter to watch out for.
Absolutely. Washington Sundar, as we all know, loves left-handers and bowls very economically against them. So yes, that will be a great contest and one to see, one to look out for. Well, to sum it up, for Indian 11, I think KL Rahul will open with Shikhar Dhawan, as we previously mentioned. Virat Kohli at 3. Shreyas Iyer will take up that number 4 spot. Then we have at number 5 the explosive Hardik Pandya, who will just bat. And number 6 would be for Jadeja. Washington Sundar taking up the number 7 spot. Yuzvendra Chahal, I think, will make it to the 11 and play at number 8. While the batting order might vary, but he'll be in the 11 at number 8 for us. Jasprit Bumrah at number 9. T. Natarajan, the death over specialist, at number 10. And our power play bowler, Deepak Chahar, at number 11. So that will form a pretty formidable 11 for T20s for India. Now let's talk about Australia. Well, Abhishek, all yours.
So Darcy Short, we already mentioned that he will be a part of this Australian setup. Partnering him at the top, what do you think, Atisha? Marcus Stoinis, is he injured? Do we have an update on his injury?
I think his injury is pretty serious. Well, I think for Marcus Stoinis, they won't risk him for the T20s with the likes of Aaron Finch at the top and Cameron Green, who performed and bowled really well in the third ODI, because any further injury to him will risk his season as well. So I think Marcus Stoinis won't be there at the top. Aaron Finch will partner Darcy Short with Steve Smith coming in at number 3. Well, what do you think for number 4?
For number 4, it has to be Manus Labuschagne. In the absence of Marcus Stoinis, he can provide that solidity if quick wickets fall in the power play.
Fair
He's
enough.
a very good batsman. So at number 5, Glenn Maxwell. It has to be Glenn Maxwell.
Absolutely. Glenn Maxwell at number 5 because he has returned to form. In ODIs, he was smashing. Guess what he can do in T20s? Will be great to see. He'll bat at number 5 for sure. And for number 6, I guess it would be the keeper, Alex Carey. He has done nothing wrong at all in any of the formats that he gets chance to play at. And I think he'll keep his spot at number 6 and bat as a keeper.
At number 7, it is a toss-up between Cameron Green and Sean Abbott. I don't think both will be a part of the squad because they have got some decent options in the form of maybe Andrew Tye, Kane Richardson, and Daniel Sams. So these are three great options for Australia.
Let me put in another player into perspective, Abhishek. Ashton Agar, who well in the third ODI he performed really well, and I think he gives the lineup something with the bat as well. And with the left arm spin option missing for the Australians, they have a lot of pacers, you know that. But Ashton Agar provides that dimension pretty much required in the T20 format, and I think he'll be a good option for number 7. So I'll put in that option as well for Ashton Agar at number 7.
Okay, so along with Aston Agar, Adam Zampa is a no-brainer. He has time and again troubled the Indians with his leg spin.
Absolutely. Adam Zampa walks into the 11 at number 8 because in ODIs he was the highest wicket takers and he has been in top form. And I think it's a no-brainer, absolutely, with that Adam Zampa would come in at number 8 in this lineup. Well, that leaves 3 spots with one, it'll be taken up by Mitchell Stark. So that leaves up with one spot vacant, and we have Hazelwood, we have Andrew Ty, we have Sean Abbott, we have Cameron Green. So Abhishek, what would be your call for the player playing as third seamer?
Yes, it should be Josh Hazelwood and Kane Richardson, because Kane Richardson also provides that option in the death. He can be spot on with his Yorkers and can be a good containing bowler as well in the middle overs. Atisham, you said Mitchell Stark, but there was a slight niggle. Yes, Aaron Finch and maybe Steve Smith clarified at the end of this third ODI that it was just a niggle and they didn't want to risk him further. So maybe if he's not 100%, then that in place of Mitchell Stark, they can go with someone like Sean Abbott, who has been in
Correct.
great form in the domestic matches.
Correct. And with the test series coming up, Mitchell Stark is their proven performer. And I think they should not risk him. And with Mitchell Stark out of the question, it will provide a good balance to the side as well with the options that they have. With Hazelwood taking up the opening overs, because as you know, in death overs, not a lot. With not a lot of variations with Hazelwood, I think he can be pretty expensive at the end. So Kane Richardson can come in and cover in that spot of bowling at death overs. So Australians, as always, have a lot of pace bowling options, and it should be good headache for them to choose an 11 from amongst them. As far as the spin options goes, Ashton Agar is the second choice, and Adam Zampa would definitely play in the 11. So from our side, that could be the possible 11 or the combination of possible 11s that Aussies could play. But considering again an Indian Australian series, it'll always be as exciting, and we hope to see some close matches and hopefully the series going in the favor of Indians. So I think it'll be a good series.
Yes, let's hope our prediction is correct. So, what do you reckon would be the margin?
Okay, Abhishek, I would have said 3-0, but with a lot of players going in for that A game for the all important test series, even Bumrah might miss out for the last T20 or maybe the second as well. So I would be very optimistic again and would say it should go in favor of Indians 2-1. What do you think?
Well, Adesham, I will be really bold here with my predictions. I'm going 3-0 in favor of Indians. Despite so many performances not going well for India in the ODIs, T20s would be a new game altogether. So 3-0 in favor of Indians for me.
So yes, let's see how it goes. Pretty much excited for it. And that would be our preview for the T20 series from our side.
Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like our video on YouTube, subscribe to our channel for the different platforms like Spotify, Google Podcast. Links are in the description below.